at that baby alligator.
It's probably a 2-year-old one.
Yes. It's like a little canal.
Safety first.
He's a daredevil, so don't let him touch the water.
He would be.
Now, if his boat breaks down around the trail, the women.
I just thought this would be a little more exciting for him. Maybe not for you, but
Will,
Mama
you better keep your fingers, okay?
Yeah. Hand in the water. Snake.
I tell you what, one of the highlights at my
In music.
sports tour thing, where I was doing a mission trip, and I took some guys, we went into Boston just on a weeknight and scouted some tickets.
Yeah.
And we did Finlay. It was absolutely wonderful.
I have one of those.
Fantastic.
Baby gators
But
is
this
about 2.
takes pictures like you wouldn't believe.
Absolutely
Snaps
beautiful
too.
city, I will say that.
Now, we're online right now. No, I'm not. Oh, no, you're not.
Hey, folks up front,
Where y'all from?
Boston.
Okay.
Georgia, what part of Georgia?
Yeah, from Boston.
Boston, Georgia.
Not Austin?
No, Boston.
Oh, you're
Because there is a Georgia. We came through. We saw the sign.
How about
Boston.
y'all in the middle? Where are y'all from?
Cottondale, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And I'm from Waycross.
Okay. All
That's my
right.
favorite sister.
Gotcha. Very good.
This sure is pretty out
Folks
here.
back here from
How many
Boston,
sisters do you
so
have? That's right.
show
Sir?
them Southern hospitality. I
Five
just wanna say
sisters.
that.
My husband's in New York.
Get over there. I'm gonna catch it. All
They're
right.
split.
Whoa.
No, really.
That is funny.
I'm not catching that snake. I guarantee you that.
He's got blue eyes.
I used to catch snakes and kill them for him. We used to skin them.
I tell you what, that snake comes in this boat. I'll do the best Jesus impression you've ever seen. I will walk on water all the way back over there. All right?
No.
Amen.
Is that poisonous?
Yes.
Moccasins are very poisonous.
Yeah, and they are very, very aggressive as well. Folks up front, did y'all see that snake?
Yeah. An aggressive poisonous snake. That's
Will, did
They
you?
will taste you.
Will, did you see it?
There's
What you
the old
think, they were
adage, the
tasty?
snake
Will, what did you think about the snake?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said they were tasty. Oh, that's
What do you think about the snake?
Now, I will tell you this, there is a snake very similar to that called the banded water snake that we
Yeah.
have here, and that is the snake we see most often.
It's got
That-
brown pupils.
Exactly. It is a non-venomous snake, and when it's really warm, the unique feature of the banded water snake is that they will stay up in limbs and trees. All right? So, last summer, let me give you an example. One of our employees actually was mowing the lawn, went under a weeping willow tree, actually went to move the limb. Bam, guess what fell on its shoulder?
Uh-oh.
Now, the banded will draw blood, okay, but it is non-venomous. But I will also tell you this, if it pees on you, it is just like a skunk that uses a musk. If it pees on you, you will stink for days,
Oh.
right? And I mean
We just
really,
saw one of
really
those under the
stink.
stairs over there then.
That was abandoned. That
Okay,
is abandoned.
yep.
It actually lives under that top step on that front, the front launch.
As long as you don't be
So I don't know whether the kids saw that when y'all were on the dock, but when we get back, just look for that snake. It'll
Looks like
kind
you-
of poke its head out.
Looks like you don't
between
go on
the,
a date for a
steps.
few days.
So,
Yes, sir.
well, folks, listen. Welcome to the Okefenokee Swamp Park. My name is Alan. I am glad to be with y'all today. I was saying earlier, we need to show these guys back here some Southern hospitality. So how we do that is this. If the boat breaks down, they get to pull it, all right? While we sit and cheer them on, all right? That is
Sounds
the
good.
kind of bless your heart hospitality we
You
want
have
to
no
show.
problem, we're Italian.
You're Italian, you are ready. All right, good job. Well, folks, let me give you sort of the small perspective, all right? First of all, you're in the Okefenokee Swamp Park. This park was opened in 1946. I want you to imagine I-95 is not built yet. US 1 is the main corridor north-south, all right? The Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge has been set aside 10 years earlier in 1937 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Businessmen get together. They decide tourism dollars for southeast Georgia. So they come out here. You're in the very north, hanging on by your fingertips, north central part of the refuge, all right? That's why this park was created. The water trail that you're in, folks, is not native to the park. It was actually a stream. They came in 46, they cut it out, they widened it, and they actually used dynamite to blow out the cypress knees. All right, we have been doing boat tours for over 70 years. We used to pull people through here with cypress trees.
You having a good time?
I thank the good Lord for motors every single day, especially during the warmer months of summer. All right? So, that is the small picture. Now, let's sort of fade out and let's look at the bigger picture. As I said, you're in the very north central part of the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. Few people know this. 438,000 acres of wilderness, folks.
Wow.
The vast majority of that is still unexplored and still inaccessible to man. And folks, when I say that, I am quoting a show by the name of Georgia Outdoors that is done by Georgia Public Television. I always want to give them a shout out because, folks, if you're able to watch that show, fantastic show about the natural assets that Georgia has. Now, as we go along here, I need you to be my eyes as well. Look for gators. We are known for two things in this refuge. The first is this black water. Second, we're known for those creatures called alligators, okay? So if you see something, just raise your hand, point in that direction, and I will slow us down, let you get your pictures, and we will definitely even stop and talk about it, all right? So as we go around this corner, and we'll slow down here just a second.
Isn't there like a Bigfoot legend out here?
There is a Bigfoot legend, yes sir. Yes sir, I believe, and you're recording this, so this is good. I believe that there was a newspaper article from somewhere around 1829, I think, all right, somewhere in that range. But of 7 explorers going into some part of what is now the refuge, okay? They went in, and from what I understand, and you can look this up on Google, okay? 5 of those explorers they encountered a large, tall beast, right? And 5 of those explorers had their heads twisted off like screw caps.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so only 2 came out. That is the newspaper article. Look it up for the real or for the facts.
Okay.
But I think I'm giving you as close of them as I can.
Appreciate it.
So there have been a group of us who have said, you know, we'd love to find out where that happened and kind of go out there, but nothing yet.
Okay.
Anyway, story to be continued.
They weren't on a boat tour, were they?
No, sir. We're not on a boat tour, I promise you. That's
No,
a
we'll
good
just
question.
encounter bears and alligators and
Oh,
water
man.
snakes.
All right, folks, keep looking around in the water. Look for that shiny hide to be shining in the sun. If you see a gator, let me know. Real quick. All right, 438,000 acres of refuge. If you look behind us real quick, you will see a water trail. That is a native water trail, all right? Across this refuge, crisscrossing it in every direction, 130 miles approximately of navigable water trails, all right? Put in your kayak, put in your canoe. Folks, when you get out there, it is really like the land that time forgot. I am not kidding you. And it is some of the most beautiful scenery and landscape that you would ever see. And yes, folks, it is a swamp, okay? Massive cypress trees, gators. You may even see a bear, old growth pine trees, which you very rarely see anymore because they are harvested so soon, all right? And of course, this black water and its reflectivity when the sky is blue and everything's green, folks, I can't tell you how beautiful it is, all right? So
Isn't
great
it
time.
tannin in the water that makes it reflective?
Exactly, yes ma'am. The reason this water is black, and actually I will show you. Let me get my dipper here.
Good question,
It
John.
looks black and also it looks deep. How deep do you think this water is? 4 foot. 4 foot? Sir, you're about right, 3.5 to 4 feet. Across the refuge though, folks, average depth of about 8 to 10 feet. All right, so that does, I like to say, give the gators a little bit more maneuverability in making their kill in the water, because remember, gators always have that advantage in the water, all right? It looks black and it looks deceptively deep, all right, but let me show you here. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
It's like weak iced tea. All
Yep.
right. It also tastes like unsweetened iced tea. I will tell you that.
Go ahead,
But also,
take a
I
sip.
will tell you, because of the
Try it, Dad.
tannins, and I'll talk about that in a minute, I will tell you that you drink swamp water on Saturday, everything gets really loosey-goosey on Sunday. Okay? That is just a fact, all right? That is not a legend or lore, that is fact, all right? All right, so, yes, the tannins. Folks, imagine across the waterways. Folks, are y'all comfortable up there under those trees? Are y'all okay? All right, all right. Think about across the waterways, across this refuge, think about the lakes. We have 70 islands and 60 lakes. All of this vegetation falls into the water and decays, all right? It forms a layer of peat at the base, about 8 to 10 inches thick. Peat produces two things, tannic acid, and it is those tannins that give this water its dark coloration and its reflectivity and its taste, all right? Secondly, let me show you. If you look back here, if I take this paddle, if I go over, it's all right-hand turns, all right? Just remember that. If I poke that layer of peat, do you see all those bubbles there, folks?
Yeah.
You see how it's almost boiling? Folks, another product of the peat is methane gas, all right? Now, let me tell you another fact about this refuge. When the Native Americans came through here, we know that Native Americans were in this area as early as 2500 BC. All
Wow.
right? They come through. This methane gas every once in a while builds up and it explodes, and it causes those layers of peat to rise up and to float on the surface of open waterways and water spaces out there, okay? So it's floating. Well, other layers of peat come up and they join one layer of peat and they form and they form, they get fertilized by birds and other things, all right? So the Native Americans come through here. They look at what they think are islands, and they're really just those layers of peat. When they got out and they walked on them, folks, this is what it did under their feet. That's why you have the name Okefenokee, land of the trembling earth.
I didn't know that.
All right? And it's in honor of our Native Americans because, folks, this was their home first. All right? Hey, folks, what did they make moonshine out of? They used corn. They used swamp potatoes. If you look over here at these pond lilies that you see, if you pull these up, folks, there is a really good-sized swamp potato at the base of that root. They used to ferment that. They used to add sugarcane syrup, and then their secret ingredients was this swamp water, which we say, as I said before, has a lot of Gatorade in it, okay? So, 190 proof. They used to call it block and tackle. Why? Because they said, if you drink it and you can make it a block, you will tackle anything that gets in your way, all right? So, when revenuers came out during Prohibition, folks, they put these still, which this is an authentic still, on rafts, and they would pull it out to areas like this, and trust me, the revenuers would never come looking for it out here because of a few of the creatures that you've seen already. All right? Any questions right now?
Can you eat that potato now?
You could pull that potato up, sir. You could peel it, you could boil it, and you could eat it. It's one of the ways that our Native Americans and our swampers lived off this land, among many, many others. All right? And you notice the pond lilies, the flowers, are absolutely gorgeous.
They are.
Just let you get your pictures there.
Gotcha. Go send some mommy pictures. Mommy
Put my ex-wife.
Oh, Lord.
Mother.
Ma'am, did you get your picture?
Yes.
You scared, Will?
So, every lumber company came in. In 27, they left with the wood. They left with the profits. And folks, they sold the land back to the government for about 4 times more than they had bought it for.
Wow.
All right, so that's the bad news. Here's the good news. One of the tutors to FDR's children was from here. She was so appalled by the logging that happened, she had his ear. Through her efforts and, of course, the legislative process, etc., folks, 10 years later in 37, this was set aside and everything has been protected. All right? Do you see another gator up there? All right. I'm going to stop right here. I want to show you a couple of things, folks. If you look right here, I mentioned the hooded picture plant.
Yes.
That's kin to the Venus flytrap. Tell me, what's special about that plant? What do you know?
It eats bugs.
It actually lives off of bugs, exactly. Y'all, that's exactly right. That stalk, folks, has honey-like nectar in it, and so the bugs go in and down trying to get to that nectar. When they do, they get stuck in there. They eventually die and decay, and that plant lives off of the decayed bugs. All right. If you look under at the black gooey matter at the base of that stalk under a microscope, folks, it's pretty gross, but they say if you can get by a very nasty smell and even nastier taste, it's a great source of protein.
Well, I imagine so.
Now, I want to show y'all a couple of other things real quick. That right there is a beautiful plant, and we love it. Do you see this plant right here? This is a water hyacinth. All right. It actually, when it buds, it actually has blooms. It has a beautiful blue plant. But I will tell you this: this is an invasive species. All right. You see this netting and everything down here. It's kind of dry. Think about these seed pods opening and just spreading seeds everywhere, folks. This can clog up our waterways. We have to come through here in a kayak canoe and we have to fish these things out. All right. So that's part of our conservation efforts, ma'am.
Are they edible?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. They're just annoying as all get out.
If they were edible, they probably wouldn't be here, right?
I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I'm one who probably would try it if somebody told me it was edible. So.
Okay.
One other thing I want to show y'all real quick, folks, is this. All right? This plant right here. And then we will make some headway. This is called poor man's soap. It's actually sweet pepper bush. All right? If I take this and I put it in water, which never stick your hands in water you can't see the bottom of, all right? Let me get it real wet. I'm more scared of water moccasins than I am gators, all right? So if I take it and I actually, there we go. See how it lathers up?
Wow.
All right? Now, I'm not sure the swampers or the Native Americans were concerned about hygiene. I'm not trying to get that across, but I will tell you this. Number one, it's cool. Number two, it is a wonderful natural insect repellent. All right? So we do use it during the months. In fact, I invite y'all back in about 3 weeks when it's mosquito season, folks. It's like a plague out of Egypt around here. So feel very fortunate that you are not here during mosquito season. And yes, that gator over there. All right?
That's a big one. That one's probably about, what, 5 foot?
Do you see it right there? That's my out of the water. That's on the bank.
All right, let me straighten this up.
Straight ahead. See his back?
Let y'all get your pictures.
That's a bigger one. But they're so nice. You know, would they bite you think?
All right. You know, another nest, maybe not within 100 yards of that one. So,
Very interesting.
all right, straight ahead, you see a sign that says "Too Far Go." Also, notice the Virginia ferns, folks. This time of year, they're better than lettuce. As far as making salads, is another plant that the swampers and Native Americans lived off of. Here's what I want you to know. This corner right here, I could put in my kayak. I could go left, cross a refuge 32 miles as the crow flies to Stephen Foster State Park. In 1851, Stephen Foster wrote a little ditty called "Way Down Upon the Swanee River." That is the headwaters of the Swanee River. From there, 280 miles to the Gulf of Mexico nonstop. All right. 90% of our water goes by way of the Swanee. The other 10%, the St. Mary's to the Atlantic Ocean. Back over here, folks, up and out into the trees to the left, our 92-foot tower. It is a wonderful day to be out on the boardwalk. I will tell you that. Okay, we're coming into mating season. Mating season is late April, May, and June. All right? After females have mated, they come out here to the nest. They return to the same nest every year, folks. They dig out that center. They put fresh, wet, decayed peat in the center of it. They're creating a compost pile, folks. It's really ingenious how nature works. The female will lay between 20 and 60 eggs and cover them up, okay? So, she covers them up and she sits there during the incubation period, which is somewhere between 65 75 days, okay? Here's the kicker with that nest. Once those eggs are in that nest, the first 21 days, where the average temperature is 89 degrees or above, the gators are male. Where it's 86 degrees or below, the gators are female. Now, in between, you can have either sex. But temperature, not genetics, determines the sex of an alligator, okay? Over on the coast, it's the same thing with sea turtles, except it's opposite. Higher temperature gives you females, lower temperature gives you males, all right? Now, Erin is the female. She's a standard size female for the refuge. We came around here in September. We saw 40 hatchlings on the side of that nest. I call them 9-inch gator granola bars because, folks, they are prey to everything. And don't forget, those eggs, while they're in that nest, are caviar to everything, okay? The gators are good moms. They will fight to the death to protect their hatchlings and the eggs. But I will tell you this. We saw Erin and the eggs for 4 days. Folks, we haven't seen them since. And we're not very hopeful. We came out here, we flew a drone looking for her. We also put a camera on that back tree, hoping to get some nighttime movement out of her. Folks, we have not seen her. It is not hurtful that she is coming back or any of her young may even be living at this point. Gators, some people have said upwards of 17,000 across the refuge, but remember that's over 500,000 acres. All right? We have a overpopulation of deer as well, which you would expect here in the southeast. Ma'am, you said something?
How many bears do you have?
I don't know a number, but we have a healthy population.
How many have you seen?
I have seen one. We found a paw print this past fall. It was 13 inches long, 7 inches wide. And then when one of our young bucks was actually up in a tree stand, and the mother came out, and it was a mother of bear. It was not hunting season. So as far as we know, it is still in here.
Oh, wow.
We think we have about one bobcat per mile, which is about 700 square miles.
Oh yeah, that's a lot more than we have, for sure. We have bobcat, but not that many.
Yeah, bobcats are very common though in my area.
Yeah,
Very-
well, down here you're more common.
Remember,
than
this refuge
New
is about the size of half the state of Rhode Island.
They'll drive BMW. Rhode Island is not big.
Yeah, it's actually. Much heat, folks. This is what they do. It's called gaping. Here's another gator over here on the left. Once again, folks, how the black water does camouflage.
That's an alligator.
Is that a sweet gum tree?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
You may know that better than me.